What's up, guys? We're back. I'm not going to do an awkward intro this time. If you really want to see that, you can go back to the other video, and I didn't edit it out because that was just really funny and awkward. So, I am back with Rye. Hey.
Hi.
And today we're going to be talking about training deloads. When do you need them? And this is a really misunderstood topic. I think some people... I just really think it's a misunderstood and really under talked about topic. So of course, this is only going to really be applicable if you are somebody who's maybe intermediate or advanced in your training. If you're just starting out, number one thing that you should be worried about is just training consistency. Like if you've gone from no training at all, the goal should just be to start training consistently a few days a week. And then once you kind of build up to more days, like 4 or 5, and you've had some time, kind of under your belt with training experience, that's when this kind of becomes more applicable. But I think a lot of people, the number one reason people don't do, there's two. Number one reason people don't do deloads, I think particularly females, is that they are afraid that they're going to not make any progress and that they're taking time off and they're being lazy and things like that.
It's not just females. I think it's more the type A personality and very people that want to, put it all on the line and do the best work that they can. So
yeah,
we're both guilty of this really
even
bad.
In the video yesterday, Chuck Vogefeld never tapered.
Yeah.
So literally, if you guys don't know about West Side Barbell, we'll just stop watching this and go Google some shit. But also the West Side versus the World documentary just came out. It's really good. So Ryan introduced me to West Side years ago, and so we've been huge Chuck Vogefeld fans. Well, him more so than me. I have had to watch the same video probably 200 times.
I watch this YouTube video before every competition, and it's Chuck with this badass Viking music in the background, and it's amazing.
So it's always just
Gets me hyped.
Pre-pump up, but he listens to it 6 times of me. So anyways, so they talked about in the movie, he's literally one of the all-time best power lifters, and Louis says that he never thought he reached his potential because he wouldn't deload properly before the meet. Yeah. So even at the highest level, there are people who are doing this. So, but don't be that person, okay? So why should we deload?
So if you are training, once we've taken care of training consistently and training for a long time, well, not even for a long time, but training and getting some experience under your belt and being able to know that you're pushing yourself. So that's the key, is that you're making progression and you're, for better lack of words, you're beating the body up a little bit. So you don't have to be beat to a pulp, but there's times where you're there's a little ache here, a little pain there, some muscle soreness. You're maybe not fully recovered. And there's, the literature doesn't even fully understand what fully causes it, but there's a combination of peripheral fatigue and central nervous system fatigue. So a little bit of structural, so muscles, tendons, ligaments, just bone. Overuse, bone, yes, actually bone, I totally forgot that. And all of them have different time periods of recovery, and that's another topic for another video, but very important material as well. So you're looking at the structural process of the body healing and the central nervous system as well. So it's a little bit of both of it. They don't really know to which end I think they're both equally important. So depending on the type of training you're doing, if you're doing a powerlifting meet and you're peaking for a meet, your nervous system is usually always shot out along with the peripheral structure, just because the tendons and bones and everything are taking a beating as well with such heavy loads. Bodybuilding, you're doing excessive amounts of cardio, you're doing high volume training, that's plenty to get beat up too, but at least you have some, the cardio and the extra movement, the high volume stuff at least flushes blood and nutrients through the system a little bit better. So that allows you to recover, but you're also beat down with food and your energy expenditure. Your energy intake is very low, your energy expenditure is very high. So it's a completely different kind of beat down. And at the end of each, if you're a competitor or whatever, the end of each training cycle or the end of each competition, you feel that fatigue. So that's a top of the peak reaching fatigue level. So you really need to take a week or 2 off and reevaluate your life. No, you just need to take some.
Why am I like this?
Yeah, take some serious downtime off. Active recovery is great. Getting outside, playing different sports, doing activities that you normally don't do and movement patterns that you normally don't do. Playing basketball, throw the football around, go hiking. things of that nature. But for people that are just getting into consistent training, you have the ability to push yourself, and within 3 to 8 weeks, I would say, I wouldn't say much longer than that, of doing the same thing, you're going to want to take a step back. So there's multiple different ways you can progress things with different periodization protocols, but for all intents and purposes, just think of it as taking a couple steps back and then taking or a couple steps forward and then taking a step back. So in that manner, you're not continuing to take steps that are 2 feet in length, and then once you start hitting the wall, which is fatigue and just accumulation of death, you start taking smaller steps and smaller steps and smaller steps, and you're putting more and more work in for less and less results. So you've reached a point of diminishing returns. So at that point,
when you'll want to back off.
That's when you have to back off. So you want to stop what you're doing, in my opinion. Coach Bondarchuk is very infamous for doing the same thing over and over again. We've experimented with some of this stuff and then just completely stopping it, doing a deload, and then throwing in new exercises and new rep ranges. So that's one extreme way of doing it, but I think that principle could work very well for most people, because you're sticking to something and doing it consistently, and then as soon as you stop making progress, you stop doing it and then start doing something else. So
now, when we say stop doing the same thing, obviously there's only so many exercises that people can do, right? Particularly ones that you're going to be able to progressively overload. We're not talking about weird, this bicep curl variation. Okay, there's, hip hinges. You're not going to do the same one, right? So like you might be doing a sumo deadlift for, let's say, 6 weeks. Yeah. You take a deload, and then now you're doing RDLs.
Extension and RDL, good morning. There's
different variations. So yeah, like it's not like you're just completely changing like everything and you're just going from like being a bodybuilder to a CrossFitter. It's just changing it as far as like you wouldn't do a deload and then go back to the same exact movement for the same rep ranges, the same pattern, that kind of stuff. That's what we're talking about when we say changing it. And you would say that most people, we do like week deloads. Some people
1 to 2 weeks.
Yeah, need
depending
like
on how long the training cycle is.
Yeah.
So the longer the training cycle is, usually the longer period you need to recover.
And most people, I would say, as just a general rule, every 4 to 5 weeks are going to kind of fall in that mid-range.
On average, 3 to 5 weeks, I would say, is most people. Some people go further.
Yeah.
Some people are peaked out at 3 weeks and they're like, I'm dead. And that's also going to change depending on what's going on with you. So caloric intake, stressors. Stress is honestly the number one thing in my opinion. So work stress, family stress, gym stress, travel stress. The gym is a stressor. Now, we're making positive adaptations training, so it's a good stress, but it's still a stressor. So if you're already maxed out with work, you're working 12-hour days, your family is at your throat, you're busy as hell, you have an hour or two commute, getting to the gym and busting your ass 5 days a week is just not going to happen. You're just going to run yourself into the ground.
And you're going to start making negative adaptations. Yeah. Like that's when it has to be practical, right? And that's when having a good coach and a good program kind of comes into place. So it's not saying that everybody needs to go run out and do a deload right now, but it is something to be aware of. Now,
some signs to look for.
Yeah, some signs to look for is just generally like you're going into the gym, like you're not getting a pump, like you're tired, like you just can't, like you just know when you don't feel good, right? Like you just can't get into it like you normally would, and it's just really frustrating. And then you just kind of feel like blah all over. Like that's how I get, at least with it.
And it's outside the gym as well. So inside the gym, your performance drops. If you've been doing something consistently, you can track it and look to see how far your performance has dropped and what has dropped.
And it's not because like you're just like bagging it that day. Like you're trying, but you literally can't go to that weight in a safe manner. So those would be some kind of signs to see. Now, extreme ends, again, a physique athlete, you are going to be, if you are prepping for a competition, you're going to be low on calories, you're going to have a high output. So you're naturally going to feel a little bit worse, right? Like in the gym. So that's when you have to make sure everything else is on point as possible. Sleep, hydration, electrolytes, meal timing, all those things matter, but don't just be like, oh, I don't feel good today, I need to do a deload. No, it needs to be like, you will know.
You're not going to feel good.
You're not going to feel good, most likely, when you're doing a competition, particularly like, you know, the last 2 months out from your show, it's going to be a grind every single day. But there is a difference of like, yeah, today was really hard, but I still had a good workout, versus like, hey, the past 4 days have just been total shit and I'm just getting worse and worse and worse. And then same thing with a powerlifter. Towards the end of a meet prep, it's going to be like this grinding phase of like, every day is super hard, every day feels super heavy. But again, there's a difference of, that's how you are peaking into a meet. Like there's hard training, and then, you know, you compensate to get over that.
Super compensate and then take a deload.
Yeah.
Some of the things outside the gym would be disturbances in sleep pattern, emotional disturbances, appetite changes. What else do we have?
I mean, travel is a big thing, like time zones. If you are traveling and training, like that's going to be, obviously it's going to throw off your sleep, it's going to throw off how you feel. And really too, I think that hydration is a really big thing, because people, when they travel especially, or they just get busy, they don't hydrate enough. So it's really important. Like people make fun of me all the time, like constantly, for carrying around like a giant jug and always having water, but who's hydrated and who's not. So just a few things to, you know, kind of think about next time you're feeling, you know, really beat up in the gym, and kind of use those signs, and just be intelligent with you guys. So thank you for watching. We appreciate it. And make sure you subscribe to our newsletter, because we have a really exciting new thing coming up soon involving all things training. So if you go to teamlocofit.com, and there's a little subscribe button at the top, just put in your email and you'll be the first to know about it.
Pow!